Hello. Sorry. I was got a last minute text, so I was trying to get that out of the way before I yes. Okay. So I was trying to make sure I had everything straight before I get started. And as usual, my desk was a complete mess, so I spent about a half an hour just trying to get things cleaned up. Hey, Miss Sheila, how are you? So that's what I've been doing for the last half hour. Have my stuff cut out for more masks. I was just about caught up. I actually was on, I was working last night until like 6 in the morning. So 6 o'clock this morning, I finally went to bed, and God bless my husband, he let me sleep. And now I woke up and I feel like I have a hangover. And apparently my granddaughter has killed my...
Mimi, where's my tablet?
Your tablet should be plugged up, but my tablet does not seem to be working. Did you kill my tablet? Did it die, or did you just turn it off?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think it died.
Okay, well, let's get it plugged back up again.
Well, where's my tablet?
Okay, I don't know. Ask Grandpa, he knows. Okay? I'm online, sweetie.
Wait, Papa put some?
Papa's in the bedroom. All right, welcome everybody. We are on to the next session of our jelly roll. I have been so encouraged by the blocks that I've seen popping up on my site and on Manatee Patchworker's site. That is so cool. Thank you so much for posting. It's very encouraging, and believe it or not, these days you really need a little bit of encouragement. Let me see if I can clean up a spot here. Just, you know, kind of like wipe a spot and suddenly it's too clean. The rest of the spots have to be clean. That's kind of how I feel right now. Give me just a second. I'm trying to get my... Hey, Miss Kathy, how are you? Good afternoon to you and to everyone else that's out there. All right, so today we are working on number 5. And you know, looking at it from here, you know, I get to step back from it, because when I turn around and look at it, I'm looking at the whole thing. But when I look at it from here, that is a really cool block. As usual, I had to modify it a little bit to kind of match what we're working on, because I believe they have it larger in the quilt that I took it from. Anyways, that's kind of cool. That's what we're going to be working on today. Yay! That's the one I got done. Actually, I did it when we finished Saturday. I went ahead and did it because I kind of forgot that I take Sunday off, and I had it done and even had the next block planned, and then I was like, oh, I have tomorrow off. But I wound up working all day anyways because I've been making face masks like crazy. Somebody saw one and they're like, oh, make me one. And then somebody else saw that one and say, oh, make me one. Actually, they don't say one. They say like 4, 5, 7. I think my biggest one was somebody asked me for 7 of them. Oh, I'm exhausted. My neck is killing me. I definitely need a glass of wine. Okay, so we're going to move on to the block because this block takes a little bit more time than the last block. And once again, I feel like I have a hair up my shirt. Hang on here. You know, and there's nothing there. There's no hair hanging on. Okay. All right, so I have purple thread. I need my white thread. You know, one thing I found that was kind of neat, I was dealing with a lot of color changes when I was working on the mask, because even though, yeah, you can do them all in white or gray or whatever, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But some of them had like really cool like red or purple or blue, and I really wanted that to show up. And I didn't want to have to keep changing out my threads. I don't know if you can see my threads, but I keep a lot of threads on top all over the place. Anyways, so instead of doing that, and since the way I was stitching, everything was down, all I did was change out the bobbin, and changing out that bobbin is a whole lot easier than changing that thread, because I have a light here and I have things that are in the way, and so this way it just made it a whole lot easier. So if ever you have to change threads often for something that you're working on that you're stitching, change out the bobbin and stitch down. Just make sure that your tension is right on, because otherwise the white thread, whatever you're using on top, will come through and you will see it. So you want to make sure your tension is right on it. And I'm getting much better at that too. That is another area that I am grossly failing in, is my proper tension between my bobbin and my top thread. But I found that if I make my bottom tension on my bobbin just a little bit tighter, then I can play with the tension on the top a lot better. It is much easier. Hey, Miss Janice, welcome. It is much easier to adjust my top tension than it is to adjust my bobbin tension. So once I figured out how to actually do that, and that only took me how many years now? I think 20? Isn't that terrible? Anyways, so that's where I found that it was doing the most good for me, is I would just switch out the bobbin thread and stitch the fabric, the colored fabric, down so that the bobbin thread was on the bottom. And that's actually working out really great. I love it. It's working. Yes, I have more of both. I have no idea what I just said, Miss Janice. I'm sorry. I get those funky looks on my face. I'm like, I don't remember. My brain is a little mushy. Okay. All right. So again, we're starting on this. Let's go ahead and pull our pieces. You should already have them cut out. Let me grab the block for today. Okay, so what I've been doing is, as I go along, sorry, eyes watering again. I think it does it every time I get started here. It's probably just the light because it's so bright. Okay, so this is the block that we're working on. In the book, it's called the Cactus Garden, and they have these points turned in odd places. But I remember this block, and I don't even know its real name, but from other quilts I had seen it, I really, really liked it, and I've never done it before, so this was actually a treat for me. But in this one, as you see, this block is turned this way, and this one is turned this way. You can do that, but for this next one, I'm not going to do that. I have found that if I put them all straight up, or all in the same direction, it makes lining up the blocks a whole lot easier, because you have that guide in the center. And so that's what that's what I'm gonna do. You guys can turn your blocks if you want to. I had to really pay attention. I actually had to rip one out a couple of times because I got them in the wrong place. So I am gonna do it with all of them straight up or straight sideways. It doesn't matter. But you can do it either way. This was the intention of the block, was to have it turned one on, one off. In fact, I think one of those blues was supposed to be on the bottom. But hey, looks good. I'm not going to complain. Okay, let's move this out of the way. I'm going to open up the book just so I make sure I'm doing this in the right direction. Here's what I noticed. When I was doing them straight up, when I was doing one straight up and one sideways, when I was putting the square on, it would go stitch from one side down. And then when I did the other one, I had to stitch from this side down, so right or left. And this way it'll make the stitching a little bit easier. Now, one thing I will recommend, and let me grab my pen and my ruler. Here is one thing I do recommend, and I'm going to tilt this down a little bit and get a little bit closer. Oop, my Facebook isn't up yet. Or either it kicked me out, which would be normal for what I've been going through with this thing. And, oh, nasty. People are dropping gloves all over the place. Just what I need to see on my Facebook page. Okay. Let's get in here. And try not to lean against her so you can't see my belly fat. Oh, you can see it anyways. How horrifying. Okay. Oh, look at all the people that said hello. Hi. Anuta? Hello. So cute. Brenda. Hi, Brenda. And Janice says I have more about... Okay. I don't know. I have more of both. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what that means, Miss Janice. Clue me in. Okay. So let me get this out of the way because it's obviously not giving me everything I want. That's kind of embarrassing because, you know, if it wasn't for the fact I turned on my tablet one, I wouldn't see all those comments. So hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get started. If you're following along, that is fantastic. If you are doing something else, that's great. Just listen along. We're happy to have you. join us. Okay. The hard part about these squares is they are, I can't tell the front side from the back side. I probably should wear my glasses, that might help. This tension headache is killing me. Okay. So here we go. So basically what we need to do before we get started is just draw a line. If you can eyeball it from corner to corner, you go ahead. I am not that talented. So this is what I did the other night. All I did was draw from corner to corner. And this probably took the most time. Everything else worked up very quickly. And I'm using a Frisian pen. These are the kind that when you iron them, they go away. And I like that. Because I did that a lot last night. I did a lot of ironing and I did a lot of marking. Because I do actually mark my mask when I make them. And I have to keep looking at it because I can't tell from just flipping it over. So now I have probably made about 17 masks in just the last couple of days. How about you guys? Let me turn this down because otherwise I think I'm going to get noise from myself. There we go. Don't want feedback. Although it's not timed together. It's got quite a delay on it. So if you ask me something, don't be surprised if I don't hear you. Or if I don't see it, because the delay is awful. It's just awful. So Miss Sheila posted some of hers last night and for the last couple of days. Oh my gosh, I love that fabric. It was so cute. See, I could have had you do this ahead of time, but then it might spoil the surprise. Okay, so if you're really quick at this and you're ready, if you're going to do it like I'm going to do it today, then you're just going to stitch them all the same. But if you're going to do it like the other one, the way I did it up here on the board, then you're going to do half of them. And when I mean half, I mean an even. So if you have 18, you're going to do 10 of them one way and you're going to do 8 the other way. And that was one thing I had to watch out for because I counted it out. Thought I counted it right and then wound up with 9 on one side and 9 on the other and had to make sure that unfortunately I did catch that one before I made that boo-boo. And I actually like these little this is like part of a flying geese. And I like this because I like the way the pattern works up. It's just so cool. And so many of the stars are done this way. Okay. One thing that might help me if you make a comment. So if you say like, yes, or yes, I did, add just a tad bit more to it. Say, yes, I did make mask last night. So make it a whole sentence for me, just so I don't embarrass myself wondering what the heck you're talking about because I forgot. All right, I'm getting down to the last. I got 2, 3 left. The water outside in the pool is running in. Ugh, it sounds so inviting right now. The sun is out. It's so pretty and shiny outside. How about you guys? Besides making masks, which I know it really is consuming pretty much all of our time, what are you guys doing? What other things are you doing to fill up your day? Okay, hopefully that one's right. I think my head is going to explode. So much going on. Kathy, been seeing nonstop making. Yes, yes, it does feel nonstop. In fact, I think I fussed at my husband yesterday to worry about dinner, and I wound up doing it anyways, just because it got later and later and later, and I was like, okay, I gotta stop anyways. So I did. All right, I see that one of my triangles has a bit of wrinkle in it, so let me crank up my iron here real quick. I just want to iron that out, because if you've ever done it and you've ironed over a wrinkle, or I'm sorry, sewn over a wrinkle, you know that it's a pain, because it can cause all kinds of design issues. So let me just straighten that out a little bit. For some reason, this particular fabric has been a little funny about the wrinkles. It's like they don't want to come out, and I really didn't want to starch it, but I do use a little bit of water. So today I decided to treat myself. Instead of just plain old water, I put frozen cherries in it. Those black frozen cherries. Unfortunately, it really didn't add much flavor to it, but it does look pretty. Okay. Alrighty. So let's get going. So the idea is that let me make sure I take a look at that. We're going to start, and it's going to go from the, I'll turn it down one more time just so we can see. We're going to take that line, and I am going to do all of them this way. I'm going to start up here and go all the way to the other side, and each one is going to be just like this. Right sides to right sides, and I'm going to take that line right up here at the top right corner, and it's going to come all the way down here to the left. And you want to line this up as perfectly as possible. This is one time where it's important to try to get it straight, because these lines are corner to corner like this. If you get them out of whack, then suddenly it's no longer a rectangle. It kind of goes like this, or it kind of goes like this. So you want to make sure you're trying to get that as rectangly as possible, and follow the line. And that's why we drew the line, because you really, really do want to try and follow that line. If you don't, and you get off on it, again, it's going to change your rectangle to something that looks like this. I've done plenty of those. All right, I have the right foot on, which, by the way, yesterday I managed to hit the wrong foot twice. Yeah, shame on me. All right, and something else I found out doing all these face masks, you know, when I get started, I really don't pay much attention. I just kind of put it in there and I get going. So I got my table runner layered and ready to close. Oh, I bet it looks great. I can't wait to see it. Hey, Nicole. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in ages. Nicole is from, or she was in South Carolina. I think she's still there. And gosh, I remember her from when she was just a little girl. Good to see you on here. I follow you on Facebook just to keep up with you and the kids and everybody. It's good to see you on here. Welcome. We're just kind of having a sew along, not really a class per se, but I just kind of give tips and we talk and chit chat during the whole thing. Right now we're working on this quilt block behind me. In the book that I borrowed it from, or magazine, it was called The Cactus Garden, but it was turned slightly different. But this one I really like. This is the one I was hoping for. All right, anyway, so what I was saying was, one of the things I found out is that oftentimes, I can't see it, oftentimes I'll just put the fabric in and start sewing. And then if you look at the back of it, there's this bunch of thread that got caught up in the bobbin. And what I found is if I pull it to the top, if I pull that thread first, take the time and pull it to the top, then it does not look like that. And you know what? It does not want to go through my fabric. So I'm going to pull this up real quick. Hang on. One of the things I have noticed that it's been doing lately, and it could be my needle, it's probably time to change it, although I did just change it, but it's pushing my fabric into the throat, which can definitely be a problem. All right, there we go. So if you pull the thread from the bobbin up, you will stop getting, and especially if you're holding on to it, you'll stop getting that bundle of thread at the very back side, which is very, very frustrating to me. Okay, so let me, actually I probably need to raise my table up a little bit. I think I still have it lower from yesterday. The other thing I recommend is if you do miss this little corner, which I've been doing that on purpose because of the because of that catch that it keeps trying to do on those frail ends. Where did it go? Then go back and stitch off the other side. Go ahead and turn it around. If it's important enough to you, go ahead and take the time and do it. You'll like it better at the end. Okay. And yeah, I definitely need to adjust that. I actually sat down and sewed all day yesterday. Well, sort of sat down. I pulled a chair up and just sat at the very edge of it. Okay. So let's come back over here. We're going to take this first one and we're going to take a look at it. Okay, turn it down just a little bit. There we go. So now we have it sewn on. It looks like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to iron it up like this, and it should match it perfectly. Okay. So let me iron that down. And that's how you're supposed to iron it. Straight down, straight up. I'm not a good ironer. I will be the first one to admit it. Okay, so this is what it looks like ironed. And if you're doing it like I'm doing it, where all of them are going in the same direction, then you're going to do all 18 like this. If not, then you're going to do... Where'd my scissors go? There they are. I raided Nicole's stash. Oh, she's not watching. I raided her stash. She has a set of gingers with the spring in it. Mine are out in the where my long arm is at because it's easier to just trim with my long arm with this. But I love hers. Now I have a set at those spots. So if you measure it now, we should have 2.5 by 4.5. And we're going to do all the rest of them just like that. So I'm really terrified to try to measure it. Just because. All right, let's grab a different colored one. Now, one of the things I was talking about earlier was that as I'm going along, I started out with like 3 colors, 3 batik colors, and I have actually added 2 more colors to it just to give it a little more variety. And I've done that in other sampler type quilts I've done, where I've added another color, but then I kind of incorporated it into a couple of other blocks so that it kind of brings it in gently instead of all of a sudden there's one block that has all this color in it or a separate color. And I think that works really well. If you have that, hey Bella, glad to see you on, sweetie. Great job on all those masks you've been doing. That just rocks. I was telling somebody earlier that you were knocking them out. I don't know how you do it. I did like 17 last night and I'm exhausted. And it took me all day. 17 masks. I just don't think I have it quite, down to a science yet. You know how you kind of have the flow of something? I don't have a flow yet. All right. And again, we're going to grab a hold of this top thread, drop the needle, pull it up. And use whatever you need to pull it up. But if you pull it up and hang on to it when it starts sewing, then you will find that you do not get that bundle. And don't pull either, because remember, we're on the bias. We're on the bias of that square. And so if you're pulling while you're trying to put it through the machine, you're going to stretch it. So just let the machine pull it in. Just use your fingers to help guide the direction you want it to go. Alrighty. So that side's done. I'm going to do like I've been doing. I'm going to turn it around and catch the other end, because I kind of started further back. I don't know if you can see, but I started further back because it tends to, especially with those little corners, it will suck it right into my throat plate. Now if I had the throat plate on that has just the hole, I'd be safe. But that means that I would have to turn around and keep swapping out my throat plate. And there are some things I'm just lazy about, and that's one of them. Where'd my thread go? There it is. Found it. Yeah, I found I was spending a lot of time trying to clean up the back side. Now I gotta get my glasses back on. I was spending a lot of time cleaning up the back side of the of my fabric because I always had that clump of thread. So this really was like an eye-opener for me. So we are all learning new stuff at the same time. So welcome to my trial and error hour. I think that's what I'm gonna call it from now on. And I plugged my foot back in, so my foot pedal's working again. Okay. I'm gonna trim this off. Let's check out some questions here. Meant to say sewing tired. Yeah, trust me, Kathy, I understand. So, Kathy meant to say sewing instead of seeing. I figured as much. I feel kind of the same way. Did 30 of them yesterday and mailed them out today. Doing another 20 right now. See, Bella knocks these things out of the park. I don't even know how she does it. She's like got this like stamina that's way beyond anything I've got. Way beyond it. Let's see. I like that roll of fabric. I see at the back of your machine. Roll of fabric. Oh, my jelly roll. This is actually the exact fabrics that I'm using in the quilt up there on the wall. These are, I honestly, I think I got these from Joann probably 10 years ago. I found them in the drawer when I was looking for a jelly roll to experiment with. And that was what I found. And I saw two. See, one of them was already open and kind of flopping around, and then this one was there, and I thought, well, good, I'll have a jelly roll to show, and then I'll have one I can play with. So, yeah, that roll goes back a long way. I think I got it way before jelly rolls ever really got expensive, and they did get expensive, didn't they? All right, let's iron this one. So last night I put interfacing on all of my mask, trying to add an extra layer in there if I can. And last night I forgot that I had my iron set on the cotton setting. So when I put the iron down on the, I can bet you can imagine what happened. So I put the iron down on the very light interfacing I was using at the time, and doggone man, that stuff just shriveled right up. I took the iron off real quick and I was like, oh, fortunately I was able to peel it off. But you know, that's your typical Robin move. I swear that does not look like the front. I guess it is. I can't tell the front or the back from that from this white one. It's really, really hard to tell. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make the square with you, and then so you see how it's supposed to go. So we're going to take both fabrics like this, and we're going to stitch them together just like this, 1/4 of an inch. Just keep a consistent 1/4 of an inch. And you should wind up with a 12-inch square by the time you're done. And mine are coming up slightly short. Okay. Oh, y'all. I'm just a mess. I don't have the right foot on. What was I thinking? It's funny because I looked right at it too. What line was I following? Hey, hang on. Let me just check my 1/4 of an inch. You know what? And doggone if it ain't right on. Amazing. Of course, I did just cut it. Just means I can eyeball it really good. All right. I'll chalk that one up to whatever. And keep going. Oh, that's right. We were following a line, so it didn't really matter. Okay. Whew. I caught that. And I didn't pull up my thread. That's okay. I'll just fight with it on the back. I get easily distracted. Okay, so let me show you. So this is the back, and I did not pull up the thread. See if I can get it to focus on it. There we go. Nope, still doesn't want to. Anyways, It's not as bad as it usually is, but if I don't go ahead and trim that down, it gets really, really wonky. Do you have a source for interfacing? I'm out. Miss Sheila, I went to Joann's last night to get interfacing because it is one of the things that I'm running low on. I actually use the, any mask I'm doing for the medical industry, I use the thicker one, the one that you usually use on the back of t-shirts for the memory quilts. And I am down to my last little bit, so I've been putting it just on the medical one, the ones that are going to be used in the hospitals and stuff. The Joann's was completely out. I looked and they didn't have anything. They had Wonder under, and that was about it. And I don't know how well that would work, you know, if you were to iron that down to a piece of cotton and try to use that. But that stuff, when it melts, it's pretty solid. I tried it on one just to see, and it's pretty solid. So I wasn't sure if that would even be recommended for this kind of thing, because, you know, it still has to be breathable. I mean, you still have to be able to breathe, and that stuff was a solid glue. That's the only way I know how to do it. So as far as that, that's it. I mean, but Joann's was complete out there. They said they were getting out of shipment, but they don't know what's coming. So it could be jelly rolls. It could, I'm sorry, jelly rolls. I'm so sorry. It could be elastic. They might have some interfacing, but other than that, I don't even have any idea. And everything I've tried to order through Amazon has been a month out. Somebody told me that they were waiting on elastic to come in from Amazon, and it was coming today, and that was 2 weeks. That took 2 weeks, so I'm pretty sure by now it's up to a month to 2 months. It's just amazing. Now, you know what? Let me show you what I have been doing. Now, as far as interfacing, I guess what I'm going to do is eventually I'll just double up the lining, the cotton lining. But what I've been doing for elastic, because they're out of elastic, this is that knit fabric. I don't even remember what kind of knit fabric it is, but it's like 60 wide, and it stretches this way, and it stretches this way. Now, it stretches this way a whole lot better, but the best thing is when you stretch it up here at the top, it doesn't fray, and it goes back pretty good. So what I do is I cut a strip. I don't think I have a strip on me right now that I think I've got to put away, but I cut a strip off, cut the whole piece off all the way down to 60 inches, and before I put it on, I stretch it and let it roll up, and then stitch it down rolled up like that. And it seems to work out really well. And when I cut about that much at a time, and then do like this, and it creates that roll, and then I just stitch it down that way. Anyways, I bought this in black and a tan color. I figured one way or the other it'll work. And then, of course, you know, you can always go to doing the ties, just folding it like a bias strip and just using it like ties instead of elastic over the ears. But this stuff is really soft, and so I really like it for the ears because I think it'll be a lot softer on their ears and not be as painful. To me, it doesn't hold as tight as elastic, but it's still on there pretty good. Okay, let me get that out of the way. All right, let's get back to ours. All right, so that is our first block. Now, if you're doing yours this way as well, you're going to put it on, instead of going from top to here, you're going to put it on from here to here. So you'll do 10 of them one way and 8 of them the other way. Okay? And then when you lay it out, just decide where you want those blocks, but just make sure they line up like this, where the triangles offset each other here. And it'll go kind of like lines all the way up and down. It's really kind of cool. All right, let's get back to stitching, ladies. Let's have some fun. So talk to me. Tell me what's going on. What's for dinner tonight? Who's making dinner? Who's got the glass of wine? That's what I want to know. Who's got the wine? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to my other foot because I can see and maneuver that foot a lot easier, which explains why I had it on there in the first place. But I'm going to switch back to my other foot, this one. And then when it's time, I'm going to switch back to my 1/4 inch foot, which is this one, the one that has the little bar on it. And I did not find this kind of foot until many years after I started doing quilting. And this is why I always struggled with the log cabin quilt, because I could never get the measurements right. And it always wound up being, instead of 12 and a half, it would wind up being 11. And that's why, because I was losing my proper seam allowance. And of course, I loved my grandmother, who is my husband's grandmother, but I didn't get to spend as much time with her as I would have liked, and she was the one that taught me how to quilt. So without her guidance and the full understanding of how important that seam allowance was, I was kind of lost. And I really did learn a lot of this on my own. Okay. Alrighty. So as you can see, pulling up and tugging on that does take a little bit longer, but it's worth it. Pick up the, can't read that. Hang on. Come on. Oh, my internet is moving like super slow. Pick up the phone. I got something to tell you, my dearest friend. Hang on, guys. You guys keep going. You don't worry about me. All right. I'm kind of hoping it's something about the quilts. I donated my my chaos quilt to the auction for the Autism Speaks, and I'm hoping it did well. You know, you never know when you donate something like that how well that's going to go. So I'm hoping it did really, really well. All right, trimming there. And you know, and honestly, by pulling it up like that, it also makes trimming the threads a whole lot easier as well, because both threads are in the same place, and that's kind of nice. And I still don't feel like I have to back stitch either, because I'm going right over the top of another stitch. And I keep a stiletto right here to help me maneuver the thread and pull the thread up. Do it, whatever works for you. Okay. And you know what? I mentioned earlier that I want to raise up my table. Let me go ahead and do that now, because I am starting to strain my neck. Yeah, that's looking better. There. Now I don't have to have it angled down quite as much, because it's closer to my face. Of course, now the phone's farther away, and I'm gonna wind up getting a cramp in my foot trying to reach the phone. Okay. It is what it is. We will work with it. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't lose somebody here. We're back down to 3 people. That's okay. That's all right. Sometimes people got to go. Got to do their thing. I begrudge no one that. All right. So that is the basis of the block, but let's just keep on working it together. How's that? Ugh. I'm making it harder on myself over here. I might have put a lot of stuff on my table. See, and I feel like I didn't get that one quite where I wanted it. I might have stitched it just a little too close to that line. Okay. And I'll just, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim them all later. Just iron them. So what I'm going to do here is just get this out of the way so you guys can see. The easiest thing to do is just go at one, just do it like a conveyor belt, oh, I'm missing the word all of a sudden. Assembly line. Go ahead and do all the stitches first. then go back and iron everything, and then go back and trim everything, and then do the next one, the next section. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to start pulling up my thread. I'm going to put my glasses back on. I can see a lot better if I put my glasses on. Here we go. All right. Any questions yet? Still the one about interfacing. I hope it didn't freeze up on me. You know, speaking of, you know, spell check, mine messes me up a lot. I mean, a lot. I keep trying to say one thing and I wind up saying something completely different. And I'm only hoping that somebody figures it out. Of course, that explains the asterisks too. When you make a mistake, there's a spell autocorrect mistake or something like that. I never realized until not that long ago that you just put the right word in there and put an asterisk by it, and they're supposed to understand where it's supposed to go, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, you're like, really? But I do that. I do that a lot. I think putting that asterisk in so they can see it, see what I meant to say. You know, a lot of mistakes happen with texting that people, you know, body language is lost in texting, and I feel like there's so many misunderstandings because someone reads a text one way, but that wasn't the way the reading was intended. Maybe they read it the way they would have written it, not the way it was intended. And that part kind of scares me. Because I feel like so much bad blood gets started because of texting. You know, there's emojis on that and everything else, but some people don't use emojis, and when they do, they use the wrong ones. Like, there for a little while, you know, so many people wanted to say praying, but what they were really sending was the high five. I didn't even know there was a high five. And so that has always been my worry about texting people. I mean, I think it's so much more important to actually have a conversation on the phone. Texting is nice because you can get your point across quickly, but again, I think you start to lose something. Miss Kathy, are you still on? Oh, I did not mean to hit that button. It's all right. That was my cut button. It cuts it, but when it cuts it very, very short, and I struggle for the next one, trying to make sure it's thread's long enough. Okay. Yeah, so last night when I was up late, I watched like 3 movies in a row that I'd already seen because I like to watch TV while I'm working. I like to have the TV going. Oh, Miss Kathy, I got your registration, but there was nothing on it. I wasn't sure if that was just an accident or if, you know, what happened with that. If there was a problem with the registration form. If there was a problem with the registration form, I really want to make sure that I get those things ironed out. And my daughter is usually the one that helps me with that stuff, but she's out of country right now, so I'm kind of out of luck. So if there's a problem with it, please let me know so I can try and get it fixed. Because if you want to join us for the class, I would really, really love to have you there. Hey Bella, good that you're back. All right, just coming right along here. So actually work up really quickly once you kind of get the flow going. Yeah, I just hope that if I ever offend somebody, you know, through text or something like that, that they would call me or, you know, come or talk to me, because so many times, you know, people's feelings get hurt and you find out later on that was it because of the way they read the text. So please, 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 if somebody upsets you over that kind of thing, call them up. You know, find out what was the context of the text. You know, it's awful when you lose a friendship over something like that, when it never should have. Or you get judged because of something you said when you might not even be talking to the person that took it. Lord knows I've had that happen a few times. Within my family and with friends. Fortunately, most of my friends know me and know my temperament. No, I would never say anything to be ugly to anybody. I filled it out, could not find out how to pay. We'll do it again tonight. Yeah, because when I got the form was completely blank. And don't worry about paying it. What I do is I go through, find out what you want, and then I send you an invoice. Once I send you an invoice, you pay for the invoice, and then you're good. And then I send you out the fabric. And that's the same way with any orders that you do. I'll send you an invoice. You tell me what you want. I'll send you an invoice. You pay the invoice, and then I send out the fabric. Quick, simple, easy. Or at least I try to make it simple. Yeah, don't worry about trying to find the pay button. There's no pay button. It's just the registration. So Miss Kathy and I are talking about the class that's coming up on the 22nd of this month, which is just around the corner. Getting a little excited, ladies. I haven't actually had a chance to start it because I have to have a couple kind of in reserve, you know. So I haven't had a chance to even get started on it, but I intend to. Hopefully, as soon as I get a couple more of these mask things done. Okay. Probably a faster way to do this would be to do them all at one time. In the strip piecing method. Strip piecing? That doesn't sound right. What am I thinking of? Chain piecing. That's the one. That's what I'm thinking of. Chain piecing method. Okay. I think that's what I'm going to switch to. I'm going to switch my ground game to chain piecing. God, I can't believe I forgot that word. You know, I find as I get older, there's a lot of things I start to forget. One day I'm going to forget my name. Hey. This thing I'm moving. All right, so next one, all I'm going to do is chain piece. I'm going to try and backstitch. Maybe if I backstitch, oops, let's throw that there and throw this here. Maybe if I backstitch instead, it'll get close enough.
You're talking to the wrong person. When it comes to Facebook, I'm illiterate.
Yes, my husband is home.
I've been hacked, and before. It's been a while, several years ago now. But I don't know. You know, you can send out a message saying that he was hacked, but you know, when someone is just got two friends,
up there.
I really, that's when you start worrying, you know.
Okay. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't really had a lot of luck with the backstitching part on such a small piece.
Just a few.
But I'm going to give it a try.
This is wash day.
Oh, see, sucked it right into the throat. Yep, that did not work. Okay. I'll just go back and... The other thing you can do is go ahead and lay them all out with the squares on it, so that all you have to do is pick it up and start stitching. This also helps to cut down on having to pull that thread up too. So if you chain piece like this, it's actually kind of nice because you don't have to keep pulling up the thread. So, yeah, Miss Kathy, when you look in there, there's a place for your email, but there's also, if you scroll down, there's like a whole bunch of questions. You have to do all those questions too, and all of them, they were all blank. I don't know why. But do it again tonight. Make sure you answer all the questions, and if it still comes up blank, then I know there's a problem and I need to see what's going on, okay? I'm gonna come over here and iron this piece out. It's got a wrinkle right in the middle of it. Thought I ironed all of these, but maybe not. All right, it doesn't want to come out. So here's what you do. A little bit of water will loosen that right up.
Oh, yeah.
And dry it off. So not only loosening up, but you're drying it off as well. Okay, and it's hot. We'll put that off to the side and do that one next. And just remember, you're doing the same all the way through, unless you decide to do the way it is on the wall, and then you're going to do 10 of them one way and 10 of them a different way, okay? 10, 9 and 9, 10, 18, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes. Yes. Ah, sure. Okay. Oh, and I don't have any music on either. That stinks. I don't know if I can remember the number on that one. Okay, zipping right through these. How's everybody doing? How's that coming along? Is it zipping right through? Or whatever you're working on? Coming through okay? Joe! You know they can hear you on here, right?
It sounds like it.
So what's been your favorite fabric to use? Do you have a favorite fabric that you've been using?
Well,
A favorite line? I actually love Riley Blake, but I've noticed that a lot of the boutiques, like that Treasures, all of a sudden, man, I am so terrible with names, y'all. I cannot even believe how bad I am with names. I think it's like Treasures or something? I don't know. Anyways, I love their lines as well. I might have included all of mine. I'll have to count them because I'm actually coming out with more rectangles than I have squares, and I know I have the right amount of squares, so I must have too many rectangles. So I'm going to go ahead and sew all these together and then figure out how many I have. Well, it's a choice. I think I'll take another blue one. So I think I only have 2 of those, but I have lots of those dark ones. Let's see. I got a lot of dark ones, so let's do wow, I do have a lot of them. So one of the first classes I did, online classes that I did, was a a patriotic star, and we did it in like about the size of just a little mini wall hanging, or a it would have passed for a placemat. That was about the size of it, and that was one of the things we did in that patriotic star. Was the star tips was like this, and we put two of them together so that the other one was going this way. So that created that star right here. It was actually kind of cool. That was my first run-in with this star pattern, was when I did the patriotic mini quilt, mini table placemat, wall hanging, whatever the heck it was. All right, so let's give this a quick count here. See how many I have. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yes, I have plenty. Okay, so they're all here. So now we're going to iron them open. Let me see if I have to go back and stitch the ends. Let's see if I can find one. That one's really bad. Okay. That one I really did miss quite a bit of it, which is okay. It happens. All right. Now you could go ahead and trim them off before you start cutting. Swear. It is so light, it's hard to tell. But I like to see how much it matches up. And if it matches up to the other end, if it matches up completely like that, then I know I got it right down the center. So it's kind of like one of those validation kind of things, you know, validates how hard I'm working on this. Hey, Renee, welcome. Welcome to the party. We're just doing a kind of a sew along. Some people are just working on things that they have to work on just so they have some company. Hopefully some background noise. I try to keep talking, but today I have to admit I have a bit of a headache. I don't know if it's from, like last night I couldn't sleep. I mean, I was wide awake. Yeah. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, and I have not stayed up till 6 o'clock in the morning, and I can't even tell you how long. I think I was a kid. Even then, I don't think I got to stay up that long. Just gonna iron them all down real quick. How are we doing on time? Oh, my watch is backwards. Oh my gosh, it's already 4:30. Sorry, y'all. I probably wasted a lot of time chit-chatting. So anybody's got to jump off, you go right ahead. But I'm just going to go ahead and keep on going. I don't know, we may get it all done today. We may have to do it tonight. But I will have the next block up tomorrow. And if there's anything extra you can do, like maybe any more lines or whatever, then I'll just kind of feed that to you. You know, draw a line from one corner to the other corner or whatever. So if we have any of that stuff, hopefully we can go ahead and get that done. Get it out of the way, because that took a long time. That was probably what took the longest. All the rest of it was pretty easy. Or is pretty easy. But you kind of got the basics down. And so if you're doing all your lines straight up, then they're all going to go right, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you should have 9 of these blocks that are 3.5, 4.5 by 4.5. Yes, 4.5 by 4.5. Yes, okay. I'm telling you, my brain is not working well today. And I don't dare take a Tylenol because I already took something else earlier today. Don't want to overload my body with acetaminophen. Miss Faye's back. Well, Miss Sheila's back. Welcome back, Miss Sheila. Yeah, I love that fabric you're using. What is that?
No.
That just a little bit of something extra you had around the house, or is that a special brand you like to use? Yeah, that one was ironed down, I could tell. Okay, so I'm trying to be a little more careful, especially on that tip, because if I sew it right, I can avoid that whole little missed spot right there. All right, so it is all ironed down. Now I wish I'd replaced a couple of those really dark ones, but that's okay. All right, I gotta take my glasses off. It makes my head hurt worse. All right, so now we're gonna go back and we're just gonna trim off approximately 1/4 inch. You can use your rotary cutter, but a pair of scissors works just fine. And it doesn't have to be exactly 1/4 inch either, because that part, the need of the 1/4 inch is pretty much finished on that part. So you just want to kind of, can eyeball it, or you can use a rotary cutter and cut it exactly, because you know they have some of those really cool rulers that like add a 1/4. So they'll kind of show you where your 1/4 inch is at. Never left. Got 3 mini jelly rolls from Tuesday morning. Oh, you know, they are so great. I had no idea how much fabric they had. I was going to try and get them to donate some to the retreat that we're having. And we are going to have our retreat in September. There is going to be a retreat in September, right? This has got to be over by then, right? But don't forget, retreat is in September. September, I believe, is 10th through the 13th, if I remember my times correctly. I was kind of hoping to get it done on my birthday, you know, about the time of my birthday, but that didn't work out. They already have something going on that weekend. And I'm really looking forward to it. So basically, we're going to take the flamingo retreat, and we're just kind of moving the stuff that we got for flamingo to the retreat in September. So we'll have all that cool stuff in September, right? I can't wait to see what's there. I have no idea. But Miss Faye knows. Miss Sheila knows. Miss Sheila, you gotta do something about your Facebook page. It's making me crazy. Keep trying to call you Faye. I don't know any Fays. I guess I do now. So I keep posting every once in a while. I'll post a fabric line. It's about three bolts of fabrics together, so you kind of get an idea. So please feel free to just take a look at the bolts that I'll post. And then what you can do is, if you're interested in one, just post me. Ask me questions if you want, or you can tell me what you need. And I will be more than happy to put together your order and just drop it at your door. So what we'll do is I'll bill you online. If you have PayPal, I'll bill you through PayPal. If not, then I have, I also have the, my brain says Outlook, but it's not Outlook. QuickBooks. I have QuickBooks, and I can accept credit cards through QuickBooks. So you can pay for it with your debit card or credit card. There is even an ACH option where you can type in your account number and your routing number. I do not have access to that. Once it goes in, it's done. That's not visible to me. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of laying them together, trying to decide if I like the colors together. Like this one. No. Let's put this one and this one together. Yeah, that looks a little better. And then what's left? This one and this one. I already have that one. Let's see. I don't want to put that together. Yeah, we'll change this one to this one. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, then what else? That. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. All right. And then all we're going to do next is we're going to just go ahead and stitch them together. So let me turn you back this way. And you can go ahead. I'm going to move my iron before I burn myself. You can go ahead and pin them all. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm terrible at pinning, just like I am terrible with using a blinker. I am terrible with pinning, and I probably will regret it later. But in the meantime, let's get to sewing. Yeah, I love Tuesday morning. They have some really cool fabrics, and the prices are pretty good too. Oh, now here's where I'm going to switch to the my 1/4 inch foot. Love my 1/4 inch foot. And we're going to be doing some more chain piecing. Love my chain piecing. So basically all chain piecing means is when we're done stitching one down, we're going to start on the next one. But I am going to bring up my thread, which it seems to be right here. There we go. All right. And my lips are so dry. I can't, my skin is dry too. Oh, I cannot believe how dry my skin is. And my hands are even worse because, you know, they've asked us to wash. So you're washing and I feel like all you're doing is washing your hands all day long. Which, don't get me wrong, we should be, but still. Probably a whole lot more than we ever did. All right. So I've got my threads out. And I'm just going to keep on stitching. Keep on going. Now, if you were doing the other way, like it is on the wall, then you're actually going to take the ones that go the other direction. Your corners are going to be turned the other way. You're going to, instead of this way, you're going to be turning them this way, which will put the corners back in the top. It's just, instead of your rectangles going this way, they're going to go this way. Okay? You following me? Are you feeling me? And I just want to try and get these as straight as I can. Even if I have to sacrifice a little bit of my edge on this side, it's okay because I'm stitching it in. Well, it is okay and it's not okay because part of that has to do with your seam allowance. So you don't want to give up too much on that side either. Yeah, that looks good. I think my neighbors are home. The car just beeped. I always hear the car beep. What kind of strange neighborhood noises do you guys have? So speaking of strange noises, how about that Geico commercial? The one with the cloggers in it. Oh my gosh, could you even imagine living in a house, an apartment where people above you are always clogging? Geico has some of the strangest commercials. I can't believe it. Maybe the next time we meet, like tomorrow, maybe we'll have to do like a glass of wine or something, or bring your favorite drink. Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Coke, Diet Coke, St. Michelle's. Riesling. I love Riesling. It used to be White Zinfandel, but ever since I found the St. Michelle's Riesling, oh, I love that stuff. Sweet, just the way I like it. Low alcohol, so I can actually have half a glass without being tipsy too soon. I am a lightweight when it comes to alcohol. My husband laughs at me, says I'm a really cheap date. Does anybody have a favorite drink besides wine? My favorite drink is, I think they call it a Sex on the Beach. Found that when I was working at the 306 bomb group. Back when I was in my 20s, early 20s. In fact, I was working there before I was actually old enough. Well, no, I was old enough. I just couldn't drink. I think that's how that works. Anyways, back then you could work, if you're like 20, you could work you could be a cocktail waitress, and I was a cocktail waitress at the 306 bomb group. Oh my gosh, that's like eons ago, y'all. Eons, it feels like forever. Okay, let's go ahead and trim these apart.
Does it?
Yeah, well, I know you can probably hear my husband back there, and I apologize. You're probably getting more out of this conversation than you ever dreamed you were going to. All right. We are, believe it or not, we are almost done. So let's see here.
People would probably say that you've never been right, Bob. Some people would say you've never been right.
I think he's actually on the phone with his brother. That's an important phone call. All right, one down. See these? Now it's going to actually go quickly. The hardest part is drawing that line. So the next time we have something like that where we have to do those corners, and I think our next one actually does, but it's really cute. I really love this one. And I was able to modify it for a jelly roll. But I'll make sure I include that into the instruction and put a line diagonally from corner to corner, one corner to the other corner, so that we can get that part done ahead of time. So I keep saying I'm going to make something that has the SR2 quilter across it in the backwards, so that I can wear it kind of like my selfie shirt, like a selfie shirt. But it has been so busy with all these masks, you know, I just worry because it hasn't really moved. The comments haven't moved, and I just worried that I'm missing something. Hang on. Nope. Just checking. Anyways, there's been so much going on with trying to make masks for everybody. I mean, think about it. I mean, the whole world is supposed to be wearing these masks. I mean, you know, who are going to get them done? If not for us, or, you know, clothing manufacturers that are changing to masks and things like that. These people are going to be without masks, you know. And these things aren't cheap to make either. I mean, yeah, we have a stash here and there, but there's only so much we can do. And now we've run out of elastic. We've run out of pretty much all the other options. People are using ponytail holders to make the ear parts for it. I mean, there's only so much you can do. And I feel like we're just a little bit handicapped because we just don't have any way to get a lot of the supplies that we need. All right, so you're going to line these up. Try to find a pattern that works for you, and it's 3 across and 3 down.
They do,
And so far so good. Get a different one right here. Nope, can't put that one there. Oh, how did I wind up with 3 of these things? See, you gotta be careful. Let's put, no, we can't put that there. I got too many of those. We should move that down there. This over here. No, because now we have 2 in a row. But we can move this here. Put this here. I think that's acceptable, except now I want up them all on the corners. It'll work. It'll work. It'll have to work. Okay. So we're going to take our first one. Now you have a couple ways of doing this. Pretty much at this point, it's just line them up corner to corner. And you need to be 1/4 of an inch away. I don't know if I got something I can measure this with. So your stitch right here needs to be 1/4 inch away from the edge. So if you've lined up your corners, your blocks just right, if you've lined these up just right, then you should be a 1/4 of an inch away. And you're gonna kind of be so in blind, so to speak. All right, let me pull up. Okay. I'm concentrating here.
Well, I've been talking to him. He didn't make much sense.
Okay, got the first one done. Now the problem I'm having is, oh, get this out of the way. Let me come back over here.
Are you there?
Okay. The issue that you're going to start having is because this one is up and the other one is down. And either way you flip it, it's going to be up. So you're going to need to stop and make sure that that piece of fabric right here on the edge, let me get a little bit closer, see if it'll get closer for you. Okay, so this little piece of fabric right here, this one is going to try to slide up on you. So you're going to want to get up close and then stop and make sure that it flips underneath that seam. I really am here just being quiet. Oh, Jeannie, so glad you're here. I wasn't sure. Miss Jeannie, did you see any fabrics that you liked? Just thought I'd ask while I have you on there. Okay, so as you see, it actually went under it this time, but just kind of lift that foot up and that'll push it right underneath there. Let me snip this one off real quick. Yes, okay. So that's what it should look like. Where'd it go? There it is. No, that's not it. There it is. Okay, so that's not bad. Not right on, but it's not bad. But that's what you're aiming for, is you want to try and get that so that it hits that tip right there in the center. So by flipping it over and making sure you're 1/4 of an inch out, and that V that you can feel but you can't see it, that V is right in that 1/4 of an inch. So that's what you're aiming for. And this is, if you've stitched them together the way you want to, that should be what you're getting. Okay, so I'm chain piecing the whole left side, and then I'm going to put them back. Okay. And personally, I think my squares look a little bit wonky, so I just have to hope that they straighten out, and they are not real straight. All right. Pull it out. I'll show you the good square just in case the bad square is not right on. See, and this one is slightly off, but it's not bad. Not bad. When I iron it, it'll look pretty good. And then this was my 3rd row, and that one's even better. So that's what we're aiming for. Okay? 3rd row, 2nd row, 1st row. So now I'm picking up my right side, and my 2 pieces that I've already stitched together. And I'm trying to keep my design integrity so that I don't mess it up. And you actually have your seam right here to help you find out where they're going to line up. But they should line up at the 1/4 of an inch right here as well. All right, so let's get some thread pulled up here. Got it. Got it. Gotta be careful playing around that needle. It'll get you every time. It gets me. I keep Band-Aids by my sewing machine. I'm terrible. Absolutely, Miss Jeannie, you go ahead. And that's one of the reasons that I post these videos, so anybody can go back later on and look and be able to, you know, whatever pattern that they wanted to do, that they can do it. And maybe you find one of these blocks that you really like, and you can do the whole quilt in just that block. And that's basically what I've done, is I've taken blocks from quilts I found that I really like and deconstructed them and then fit them for our jelly roll. Because some of them have pieces that are like 5 by, you know, 5.5 inches or 8.5 inches. And I've just modified it so that we're using 2 pieces or 4 pieces of jelly roll to make up that same thing. I like deconstructing patterns. I think it's really neat. But I'm one of those people that see patterns in things.
Well, what did you want?
Okay, I don't feel like that's close enough, so I'm going to just slide it over a little bit more. Trying to keep these as close as I can, because that's always been my weak point, has been the trying to keep the integrity of the inches. Because I often tend to mess things up. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, it's starting to pull, so we're going to flip that up there. I'm going to grab that other one. I'm going to do it at the same time. This is chain piecing these two pieces together. Alrighty. Hold on just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Let's see. Getting a cramp in my foot. That hurts. Ow! 434. Let's see. Contemporary Christian. Let's go with that one. Hopefully that helps. Now, if that's too loud, you let me know, okay? Good Lord. Got a cramp in my toes, y'all. Oh, I hate when I get cramps in my toes. Oh. You ever have your toes roll up because of a cramp you got? Alright, we are getting there. Oh man, that hurts. I don't know if y'all notice this, but I'm not a person to suffer in silence, not really. Alright, so this is the last one. Here's the second one. The best thing to do is go ahead and iron them down real quick. Get this out of the way, sorry. Let's iron them down real quick. It's probably from all this leaning forward. Okay, let me grab my iron board. We are almost there, ladies. Almost there. Get my shoes out of the way. So when you're ironing this one, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try and iron them in opposite directions. And then when you get the second piece, because I think this is the top piece, when you get the second piece, iron it in the opposite from this one is, so that you can have a different angle for each one of these. Okay. I even took potassium tablets last night, hoping to help with the cramps. You know, it's kind of funny. I get in bed, and the minute I go to lay down, I get a cramp in my chest. You know, where the muscle's right here, and then I got that worked out and laid down. Went to lay down again, and I got the same cramp again. It took me several tries before I got rid of that cramp. Eventually, I had, because I have one of those hospital type beds where they can lean up or down, and anyways, that's what I was dealing with last night. Okay. Trying to iron this the exact opposite of what the one on top is. How did I wind up with another one right on top? I might have this upside down. I think I do. Let me turn it this way. No. Let me see. I might have to play with this just a little bit because it's looking like. Still think that might be better right there. I don't know. Oh, that's worse. I love Christian music. Oh, so I was at Joann's yesterday waiting in line for forever. and they had music playing outside. And I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I just started dancing, you know, getting on. Fortunately, it was kind of gentle music, not head banging. I mean, can you imagine me doing head banging? Right now, no. My brain hurts. Okay. Oh, I require a drink. Okay. So now we're going to take and we're going to roll it down to here and stitch those down. And if any of the seams are going the other direction, then just turn them. Just push them the other direction. All right. And I am going to pin this because there are too many of these to not pin. Oh, I'm sorry. Come back. Come back. I got my cute little pin cushion when I was in Hamilton, Missouri, visiting the Missouri Star Quilt Company. There's a little antique shop right next door to Missouri Star Quilt Company. And they were adamant that they were not part of the Missouri Star Quilt Company, which was fine. But they had fabric and they had patterns and they had all kinds of things. And they had 2 of these, so I grabbed both of them. And they weren't cheap. But I'd always wanted to get one, so I figured I was on vacation and I deserved a doggone it. And I actually use it quite often. I use it all the time. Alright, so once again, we're going to pull up some fabric here. Let's see if I can get it, keep it from getting caught. There it is. Sometimes that thread gets stuck underneath the foot and it doesn't want to move. Been there, done that. Alright, so let's give this a quick run through. Get right up to the pin. Alright. And there's one more section done. We have one more to go. Try to keep our pattern in mind because I think I got mine messed up. I don't know how, but I think I did. And then we're going to stitch it. This will be the last part. And then I can't wait to see what you guys wind up with. Let's see, so can you show us all 5 blocks? Yes, absolutely. Give me just a second. But yes, we have at least 2 people that are doing them on through here. And oh, did I forget to move the thing again? All right, let's see. So I do have to turn it just a little bit because a couple of the seams are going the wrong direction. But yeah, give me just a second and I will pull down. Would you like to see the dark one or the light one? Which one would you like to see? You gotta have fun. I'm going to back stitch this a little bit because I've started way in. Alright, so I'm going to get right up to the pin and then pull it. See, if you guys weren't watching, I'd run right over my pin. I'm a bad stitcher. I'm a naughty stitcher. Let me put it that way. I'm a naughty stitcher. I'm not bad. I'm just naughty. I feel like that one didn't go down far enough. I think I might have to rip that one out. So I'm looking at that seam. That seam doesn't look like it came up far enough. Alrighty. So let's see. Yeah, that seam did not come up far enough. I'm going to rip that right out. So one of the things I do, if I get one I don't like, is take my handy dandy X-Acto knife, pop that seam. Trying to be careful not to pop the thread. And if your X-Acto knife is sharp, you should be able to tap that first one and pop that thread. And part of the problem isn't this seam right here, it's actually the seam previously. Actually, I'm going to go back just a little bit further. And you just want to be very, very careful because this is a razor and it will slice right through your fabric. Pull that up just a little bit, try to get that a little bit closer. Smooth it out a little bit. So I'm probably going to create more problems than I'm going to fix. But let's just see what happens. Okay. That's better. Okay. It's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. All right. So that is block number 5. And tomorrow we're going to have block number 6. So what do you think? All right. Let's see. Today's... All right. Hold on. Let me go grab some. All right, let's see. Let's start off with the very first block. So this is block number 1. Block 1. And when you do the whole set together, there's actually a white border all the way around every single one, okay? So that's block number 1. Let's see, this was block number 2. This one is, I don't remember the name of it. I want to say sundial, but I might be wrong. Okay, that was block number 2. This is block number 3. I think this one is called Scarlet Steps, but it was done in red originally. Okay. I love batiks too. They're like my favorite. Okay, and then this is the one we did on Saturday. And this one is called, I don't remember. I'm going to write these down, I promise. I will write these down. Bars of Gold, that's what it was, Bars of Gold. And again, it was done in some really cool fabric. And then this is the last one, and this one is called Cactus Garden. And they actually had these corners turned just a little bit funky. But this is the one I wanted, because this is, if you've noticed, it's kind of like a star right here. There's like a 6-pointed tilted star, and I really love this pattern, and I'd never done it before, so I really wanted to do it. So that was that one. And then I did the batiks for the show, not for the show, because this is just a friendly get-together. This is the batiks. This is number 1. I know what that looks like, but please don't say anything because I'm really embarrassed that it turned out like that. Okay, and there's the sundial. And then this is the Scarlet Steps. You just have to imagine this, the whole quilt was done like this. It was actually very beautiful. All of these were very gorgeous. And then this is the one from Saturday. This is Bars of Gold. This one is actually a little narrower because I cut them a little narrow by accident. I wasn't reading my own directions and cut it a little narrow. So normally this would be 2 inches here. These would be 3.5 inches. They're actually 3. And then the outside would be a 1.5, which would finish up at 12.5 inches, the block itself. And then our last one right here was Cactus Garden. And you can definitely see that star with this one. So much better. But yeah, I do love the batiks. They're like my favorite. Absolutely favorite. So when I had an opportunity to buy a whole bunch of batik quilts, I took it. I took whatever money I could gather together, and I just purchased whatever I could buy. So I have them available if anybody would like any batiks. If you have a particular color you're looking for, maybe it's in the blue line. I don't have a lot of whites, but I do have lots of blues, orange, well, not oranges, yellows, some yellows, purples, reds. I have such a variety of colors. I even have some black. They're not necessarily batiks though. I got some blacks. I do have some whites. Again, they're not really batiks, but they're really, really pretty. They would go very well with festive things. Let's see. Blocks are beautiful. We are our worst. Yes, we are our worst critics. You're right. I'm terrible about it. But I love this. I love getting together with you guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm sorry it ran us so late. We are an hour and 48 minutes in. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, I got that class coming up on the 22nd. You have to be registered by the 14th to be able to get in. Click the link, register. That you do not pay right then. I will send you an invoice, and you would pay it then. Hey, Miss Carol Lee. So you would pay it when I send you the invoice. There is no payment up front, not right away. And the invoice comes it could be that day, it could be a day or two later. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a beautiful quilt. If you get the whole kit, you would make the whole quilt. I mean, you would have everything you need to make the whole quilt. You'd have to do, of course, your own quilting, but that's part of the fun of quilting, right? Right? Okay. Let me think. Any other? Oh, just be back here at 3:30 tomorrow. I'll have your cutting requirements posted by 10 o'clock tonight. I usually like to do one of them ahead of time just to make sure I've got my measurements straight, and hopefully I'll actually pay attention to the page. Anything else? Anybody would have any questions before I sign off? Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed this, and I appreciate you guys putting up with the headaches and the weird phone calls and all the other stuff that's going on a daily basis in our lives. I mean, it's not just me. It's everybody has weird things that are going on, and of course mine are just out in the open, so you get to see everything. It has been fun. I hope the mask things are going well for you. I know how important it is to our community that they have these, especially now that the president has asked us all to wear them while we're out. I had mine on yesterday, and I'm gonna tell you what, I could have passed out at least twice just from trying to get a clean breath. You know, breathing into that mask all day long I don't even know how they do it. How the heck do they do it at the hospitals? Wear that thing all day long like that. Oh my gosh. Anyways, thank you, Miss Sheila. Blessings to you as well. You guys have a fantastic night. I'm going to assume there are no more questions right now. If there are, please don't hesitate to just text me, email me, whatever you need. And if you need some fabric, let me know. If you're local, I am happy to drop it off to your doorstep. And I'll bill you for it. You pay it, I'll drop it off. I don't mind bringing it to your home. If it's Bradenton or Sarasota, it's just a drive. And you know what? Sometimes it's nice to get out to just drive. Just drive. No visiting, just driving. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy your dinners because it is now dinner time. And blessings. Mwah.